Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday so far. Today, guys, is it's a hot topic. Those of you that follow me know that I'm in multiple groups, multiple intermittent fasting groups, multiple keto groups, multiple type 2 diabetic groups, and you guys know that I follow a lot of the questions that a lot of people are asking on those groups, and I get a lot of my good content from that also, because the questions pretty much are all the same, and most of them come from beginners, it seems like. But today, guys, this topic is about something that I think more people are not taking it seriously. And I have to admit, a lot of health professionals and medical professionals and so forth, they're not taking the issue of this topic seriously as well. And the problem is now it seems to be maybe the number one root cause when it comes to weight loss, and why it's taken so long for people to lose weight, or why they they're doing everything right, they think, and they're doing all their exercising and their meal planning and stuff, and they're keeping their carbs low, but yet they still are not losing weight as quickly as some other people are, or like they would want to. And so this question in these groups, it's not really a question, but it's an issue that is causing them to ask certain questions on what are they doing wrong. And so Emily and I have been doing this for a long time, and we've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out there. And even though you think you're doing it right, or even if you are doing it right, the fat loss just isn't coming off like you think it should. And this issue, or this topic of hormones, doesn't get enough recognition from the health professionals, and isn't taken seriously by them or by individuals as well when somebody like us mention hormones. And I firmly believe now, guys, that this is probably the most common, or maybe the first, maybe should be known as the number one root cause to why you are not losing that belly fat or body fat, or you're having a really hard time to losing the weight itself. And so that's why I want to bring this topic up again. This topic now, from what I'm seeing on these sites and on all these questions, and not only with group questions, but I'm also seeing it with my own clients, is when I like to have my clients do a full hormone panel test to see, blood test actually, to see what their hormones are at, and there's specific ones that I want to see, because those are the ones that are causing the issues. So what I've done here is I'm actually going to write another book. And now I already have the content. I already got the information. I just need to prioritize it and put it in a very simple explanation, and then give them the hormones, which I'm calling, this is going to be the title of it. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly About Hormones. And I think that's a great topic, right? So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take certain hormones that are known to store fat, and hormones that are known to depress your appetite, and hormones that are known to help you lose fat. And I'm going to explain the cause of why these hormones, or why they react in the way they do. And there's probably the number one hormone, I believe, is the one that's causing the biggest issue, and the one that's most of you who are overweight or who are having a hard time losing that fat. The issue is one called, is it insulin? I think insulin is the precursor, or is the one that's causing many other hormones to be out of whack, and that's why so many people fail when they go on a high-fat, low-carb meal plan and they combine it with intermittent fasting, is because they haven't actually recognized which hormones are out of whack and need to get worked on. And both these programs, the high-fat, actually our program, our online personal coaching program actually works on the hormones as well, not only for your fat loss, but for the hormones also. But you got to recognize the hormones that are causing the issues, and they need to be fixed. And the hormones are mostly food driven from what I'm seeing so far and from what I'm reading by science. So I'm now seeing enough science research coming up showing that even science is saying that most likely the number one root cause for weight gain and for people that are having a hard time, especially those of you 40, 50, 60 plus, hormones is a major issue. I have to look back at all the people I've been working with, and the ones that I had to do their ones that were having a hard time getting into ketosis, or the ones that were having a hard time losing weight, and I had them go do a blood test. I would have to say 98% of them came back, and when I looked at their blood test, the hormones that were causing the issues were the ones. And so they need to be fixed. And you can't just go to your family doctor and have a hormone panel done and expect your family doctor to give you the right answers, because most likely they won't. You need to go to a bioidentical hormone specialist who specializes in hormones and is very well educated in a high-fat, low-carb meal plans and intermittent fasting, because they know that those two programs are going to help hormones as well as losing the fat. And so I'm just going to read you real quick. When I start to, I've actually started on the book, and it's going to be a training book for my clients also. Now, I'll probably go ahead and publish this book on Amazon Books, but it's going to be one of my training books for my clients who sign up for our online personal coaching, because they need to know exactly these hormones, how they work, and how to fix them so that we can get maximum weight loss or fat loss in a short amount of time. So the hormones that I'll be talking about is insulin. I put that one as number one because that's the one that most of you is out of control. And if insulin is out of control, which is food driven, then it's going to cause issues with these other hormones I'm going to name. So insulin is number one. Ghrelin is a hormone known as your time clock, and the book or the information will explain, but the ghrelin is what they know as the time clock. So if you've been eating breakfast every morning since for years at 8 or 9 o'clock, then most likely when you wake up in the morning, just before 8 or 9 o'clock, you might get hunger waves. That's your ghrelin hormone elevated, telling the brain, okay, it's time to eat. What about those of you that are at work or you're working? And while you're working, say around, 11:30, 12 o'clock, you haven't even looked at the clock. You're busy working, but all of a sudden your stomach starts making noises, and all of a sudden you start feeling hungry. And then you look at the clock, and what time does it say? 12 o'clock. Well, if most of you eat lunch at 12 for years, that's your ghrelin hormone. And then, of course, evening time, your dinner time. If you eat dinner at the same time every day for 7 days a week for years, your ghrelin is going to be your time clock and tell you it's time to eat, okay? Peptide YY is a hormone that is known to depress the appetite. It tells the brain that it is not hungry, and that one is is affected by by your insulin being too high. Leptin is another hormone that is related, or that is actually have something in common with ghrelin. Leptin is a hormone that tells the brain you're full. Well, what happens is if your ghrelin is high, then your leptin is going to be too low, and you're going to be always hungry. HGH, your natural growth hormones, that plays a big factor in burning fat because that's a muscle building hormone. So those of you that are exercising, and this is important for you, those seniors out there, because as you get older, you're losing muscle mass. Well, your growth hormones has an effect on your muscle mass. So actually, if doesn't matter what age you are, you could be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. There's no age limit in producing or making new lean muscle mass as long as your growth hormones are intact. And those are the ones that most people, as you get older, they're depressed. Okay? Estrogen. We all know about this one. There's a good and a bad. You have to have estrogen to survive. But the environment causes estrogen to go bad, and that's why it's an issue. So if your estrogen levels are too high, or if your estrogen levels are too low, it will cause weight gain as well. Cortisol. Cortisol is another one that people are afraid of. And actually there's two types. There's a good cortisol, you got to have it to live. Then there's a bad cortisol, and the environment is what makes it bad. And so you have to know how to control this. And cortisol, we all know, is everybody looks at it as the bad one because it's known to weight gain. Help you gain weight. And that's true, it does. But there's also a good cortisol you have to know about. So you want to fix this. You want to make sure you're doing the good cortisol. Thyroid plays a big part. We all know that. Melatonin plays a big part. We know that. You got to have sleep. If you want to lose weight, lose that fat, you need to get at least 7 hours of good sleep a day. Okay. And then there's another one called glucocorticoid, which is kind of rare. People don't talk about this, but it's an important hormone that actually helps to lose weight as well. And if it's imbalanced, it'll cause you to gain weight. It actually, what it does is it will actually, if it's too low, it will block your fat burning. That's what it does. So all these hormones, these hormones are affected by your meals. They're affected by your meals. So if you've been on the traditional standard Western diet, which is high carbs, low fat, well then obviously your hormones are going to most likely be jacked up. So, and your insulin, especially if it's a high carb meal, your insulin is going to be high most of the time, and this will cause the other hormones not to activate and to help you burn fat. So so I'm preparing this book right now. I'm probably a quarter of the way through it or halfway through it. And once I get it ready, I'll let you guys know. But you really, everyone, all these groups, even though I mention in the question sections of these groups that you guys got to look at your hormones. You got to get your hormones balanced. And you guys have heard me talk about this over and over and over again. Your gut plays a huge part. You got to heal your gut. Most of you that are overweight most likely are at some stage of fatty liver. Well, fatty liver has a huge effect on certain hormones that depresses your appetite, your cravings, because those hormones are produced in the gut. Well, if you have a sick gut, then obviously those hormones aren't going to be working. But you see how important it is to know about the hormones, and that you probably should really focus on that. And science has already, now in this book, I am going to have links to some actual science research that will actually relate to each hormone. That's going to be, so the book is going to have to be a digital book, which most of mine are. And so there's a hyperlink to those science research. So if you feel like going in there and read them, you could just click on it. It will take you right to the research itself. That's going to be the big difference in this book, is I'm going to be backing up what I'm writing with some actual science and some actual research and actual double-blind research also. Okay, so guys, just like I said, you've got to take this seriously about hormones. You've got to get your hormones balanced before you really are going to get into that fat-burning environment. You know, Emily and I, for an example, we get our hormones checked every 6 months. Both of us are in our late 60s. Both of us have hormones of an 18-year-old. Both of us consult with a bioidentical hormone specialist who got us to that point to make sure that our hormones were on the right track. And now, because of our lifestyle, we are always up in that 18-year-old bracket now. My testosterone level is always going to be up in the 18-year-olds. Emily's is always going to be up in the 18-year-olds. And besides that, for us men, because of my estradiol is at a healthy level and my testosterone's at a healthy level, that keeps me away from having an issue as far as prostate issues. Because high levels of estrogen for men and very low levels of testosterone for men, you're a candidate for what? You're a good candidate for prostate cancer. So guys, if you get a chance, go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it. And if you're not a member of my Facebook group page, then go to Fat Loss Made Easy Facebook group page. I'm the one that has the pictures of fat foods. So join the group, because there's a free ebook in there that will help those of you that are just starting out on this kind of lifestyle. Also in there, I have some of my favorite fat burning recipes that are in my new book. My cookbook was just published a couple days ago, so it's now available on Amazon.com. All you have to do is go to Amazon.com, type in books, then type in my name, Bill, and I'll spell it, Mabry, and all four of my books will be, you'll see all four of my books. Okay, guys, so you guys have a great day. Like I said, education on hormones is vital if you're looking to lose that body fat or hip fat or whatever fat, and you want to keep it off for life. It's vital for you to get your hormones balanced, okay? You guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.